Um, this is the thing. What differentiates my program from a lot of these self-help programs is that I'm not saying that, you know, you're going to be a new person completely at the end of 28 days, because no one can be like that. It's about consistency and repetition, because 28 days is enough for laying down habit formation and promoting changes in the brain. But ultimately, the most important thing is keeping on top of the habits, because I've done similar programs. And for me, it's all about habit formation. It's about consistency. This is the thing that really matters more than anything. It's more important than, in my opinion, being disciplined enough to like just lock in for like a brief amount of time. It's better to do small habits, because then as well you're signaling to your brain that you can trust yourself to follow through. And again, that is leading back to internal portfolio of trust. It's, for me, saying to my clients that when you do these practices, you are telling your brain, even if it's something small, you are telling your brain that you are capable of following through with tasks. And it promotes such a mindset where you're in a position that you feel like you can trust yourself, and you take yourself seriously in that way.
And that's big. I think a lot of people actually don't trust themselves and don't take themselves seriously. I found out a few months ago, actually, towards the end of 2025, that there were areas in my life where I actually didn't trust myself. I didn't, and I was self-sabotaging in order to quote unquote save myself from myself because I didn't feel that I could handle certain things. So that's really big. I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the people's biggest misconception when it comes to trauma or anxiety or just nervous system healing as a whole today? I know we talked about this before. There's like buzzwords going around, and it's definitely a buzz topic.
I think that when you're looking at trauma, a lot of these self-help people, they say, well, I can fix it for you. At the end of the day, trauma, it's quite simply the connections between certain parts of your brain, the memory center and the emotional centers, because emotional memory is very powerful. Like, memories are powerful, but emotional memories are way more powerful. So then they get stored, encoded in your brain. And really, these emotional memories are the ones that go through life dictating how you react to situations that haven't even happened yet. So I'm going to say something which is controversial, but this is the truth. And because I don't sell anything, I'm honest. You can never heal like, you can never be in a place where you're 100% healed. You're never going to have a triggering thought again, especially if you have had any adverse experiences. I have had these in my childhood. Everybody has. We're human beings. And there is never a world where you can go through life and you're like, okay, now I'm never having to like experience the triggers. They come from time to time. They are less frequent, of course, but
Mhm.
they still happen. And so when you avoid these things, or you avoid certain situations, then you're telling your brain that you're reinforcing the fear. So these a lot of self-help people claim, oh, I can, heal you, I can fix you. That's it. You're never going to have a traumatizing thought. That's not true. You are always going to experience some degree of triggering thoughts. That's just your brain. Like, even me, like, and especially when you're like tired, or when you're hungry, or when you haven't eaten well, or if you're a woman and you're coming into a certain phase of your monthly cycle, like, of course you're going to experience, thoughts that are maybe not desirable. But the most important thing in life is to not notice these thoughts, as to be a blind observer to these thoughts. And you become a blind observer to these thoughts by regulating your nervous system. you get to that point where when you're so connected with yourself, you can dismiss these thoughts and think, well, no, that's, I feel comfortable that I can calm my body down and I can shift away. Because honestly, like 9 times out of 10, if you have a triggering thought, but then you just calm your body down and you actually spend like 5 minutes grounding yourself, it completely goes away and you're like, oh my gosh, this happened to me. I remember I was around some people that just were very low vibrational people, and I remember like looking at even a picture of myself and thinking, oh, it's okay. I wasn't negative about it, but I was like, oh, it's okay. And then I look back like 6 months later when I've removed these people from my life and my nervous system is regulated and I'm calm, and I'm like, oh my God, like I actually love this picture. Why was I even being so hard on it? Like, and this is the thing, like when your nervous system is just more calm, everything is just different. I actually look back even years before, even in the points where before I started healing, and I was thinking to myself, why was I so hard on myself? Because there's really like not a lot for me to be hard on myself about. In that moment, though, it felt like it because of, you know, traumas or just like having an unregulated nervous system. And even sometimes, yes, we all get traumatic thoughts, but they're never going to go away. Like you're never going to be able to completely shut them out. Thoughts come in and out of your mind, like without your permission. Any thoughts can come into your mind. So it's not you avoid them, but it's just you acknowledge them and then you shift your attention away from them by regulating your body. But a lot of these self-help people, especially in this space, claim that with trauma you take their course and they can make it go away completely, whereas with me, I acknowledge that it will never go away, but you can modify your reaction to things because life stays the same as we pass through it, like, but your perspective of it and how you're regulated and how your brain sees it is actually the key difference.
I love that. I love that. You brought up a past transformation and, just being around people who weren't the most positive. Can you take us through your childhood actually? I know you grew up in a different environment. You grew up, overseas. I'm in over here in Florida, and we had the conversation of just the framing of education is so different in our two cultures. So could you walk us through what your childhood looked like, the household environment, what values were instilled in you? What did that look like?
I mean, I was lucky that I grew up and I'm still growing, at the age of 31. Obviously, like, I have my family in my life and I'm blessed for it. So I was fortunate to have grown up in a household where I could have whatever I wanted. And my parents, they loved me. They were like, okay, like we don't want her to be upset. We'll buy her this. And we want to be there for her. However, a key aspect of this is that you don't realize until you grow up that you realize your own family have their own traumas that they have not dealt with. Not even necessarily traumas, but insecurities. So when I was younger, I was more, I would say, agreeable in the sense where I just followed how everybody else was doing it. I wasn't high maintenance. I was like, okay, I don't like, I would almost feel like ashamed or guilty if I was like, oh, like putting so much attention into myself or anything. But then this all kind of started shifting when I was healing. So for, I would say, 26 years of my life, um, my family and I, we were all the same. We all thought the same, and it was harmonious. However, my family, they still adore me and I adore them. But I have noticed changes that since I started healing and I've started thinking out of the box, I've started noticing that our relationship is just a bit different in the sense that I feel distant. I feel sometimes frustrated that we can't relate to each other. And I feel like a lot of my extended family, like my aunts, my uncle, etc., they say to me, or they give off the vibe, you give off the vibe that you think you're better than someone or you're pretentious, which I don't think is the case, but I'm more reserved now, because I protect my peace and I'm selective about who I have around me. But also, I put myself first because I'm like, well, I have to. Otherwise, how can I be a good daughter, good wife, good mother, anything?
Mhm.
And so, what I noticed with my family is that even though we have so much love for each other, the relationship is just not the same because when there's a family member that has a specific insecurity that they have to be the best, but when you're trying to not necessarily, you know, supersede them in that sense where you want to be better than them, but when you're realizing that you have so much untapped potential, especially when I started, getting more into religion and started realizing that my opportunities are limitless, it's a shame because then you trigger your light triggers sometimes the shadows in other people and they don't realize it. So a difficult realization that I've had to deal with is that my family and I are more distant now because I think differently. I'm always told that I think now that I live in a fairy tale. I'm not realistic, that I need to be like this. Like I remember when I started my company, my uncle was like, you shouldn't do it. You should do it as a side business. All of these things. I have been told everything possible that is demotivating, but I don't know, I have so much proof internally and also through God that I just don't care because I'm like, when I listen to myself, actually, that's when everything changes and the good things happen. Like when I listen to myself and I'm like, yes, like life is great. For example, my parents, the kind of people, they say, oh, the world is evil, this and this, like very negative, right? And I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'm just, life is good. People always treat me well. So every time I have gone out, I'm always approached by people. When I go out by myself, people always come and talk to me. I always come away with, you know, good conversations with people. I personally, I'm not saying I'm naive in the way that I think that nobody is ever going to have any ill intention towards you, but I really focus so much on the positives and the gratitude and also just being protected by God in general. And so what I noticed is that I spent my childhood, I really put so much emphasis onto other people's opinions. Like I went to boarding school. I was always told to listen to the teachers. I had, my parents were like, we're always right. But then I was like, well, actually, well, I was listening to other people. My life was miserable. I hated myself. I was insecure. I was not confident. But then when I started listening to myself and I put myself first, but now why do I feel the complete opposite? I feel amazing. And so I just I don't want to say this in a way that, of course, I respect my parents, I respect my elders, but they don't know what's best for me. No one knows what's best for me but me and God, And now I think to myself, wow, like we are so conditioned by our family and by society in general? So,
I can 100% relate to that, especially just the difference in mindset. That actually happened once. My mother and I, this was months ago, we went out for lunch, I think, and I have the same mindset as you. You know, we're very like-minded in the way that we think, and I have the same experiences out. And I remember the tiniest thing happened, and my mother immediately thought the worst of like a stranger.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and that's when I realized just how far removed I had become from, that way of thinking. Because again, when you grew up in the same household, you're going to be a product of your environment. And I think when you are very intentional and conscious of the person that you want to be, and you're so like focused on that journey, you forget just how much you've grown and just how different you are until you get back around those people from your childhood. So I can
exactly.
definitely relate to that. But I wanna pivot a little bit, and can you dive into your routine. What does your daily routine look like as far as anything wellness? I know you're a Pilates girly. Um,
Oh my God, I love Pilates.
yeah.
Actually, so I'm a reformers Pilates. I've done reformer Pilates, I've done Legree, but the other day I did mat Pilates, and honestly, mat Pilates for me is more difficult than reformer, and it's so stabilizing. So, okay, so basically my routines, I'll do like my daily and then I'll do my weekly. So my daily, um, I when I wake up, I always do regulation. I do my breathing, and actually, I always do my prayers. I thank God. That's literally what I do before I even like the minute I wake up. I do that. Like that's it. That's how I start off my day. I don't do anything else. Literally, first thing I do. Then I go downstairs and I always have like coffee outside now that it's summer. And I just enjoy my morning coffee so much because it's just such a peaceful luxury. Like having a slow morning is honestly one of the most underrated luxuries. And then I do usually a midday regulation, um, actually as well. I take a nap as well in the afternoon because I really feel that I'm the kind of person I'm not good when I'm not a morning person per se. Like I stay up a little bit later. I'm a night owl, but I think it's so important to rest because when I go a whole day without napping, my mood is not so good, and I just feel really, really like cranky, and I don't sometimes I can feel myself just not thinking in the best optimal way. And so I'll take like a 20-minute nap. And I think this is a thing as well. I have no problem in resting because I know that I need it and I don't feel guilty for it. So that for me is very important. And then I do a lot of herbal teas throughout the day, chamomile, peppermint. And then as well in the evening, I'll do literally a walk. I'll do an hour outside, or I'll do 30 minutes on the treadmill. And for me, when I do the journaling, when I do all of this, it just makes me feel so at peace because I'm regulating myself. I'm enjoying the luxuries of life and living. I'm taking each day at a time, but also I'm doing gentle movement, which is so important. And, for me as well, doing my skincare is just so important because I'm like signaling to myself that I respect myself, I'm caring for myself. Because there are days as well where I feel more tired or not so well, but I still want to make sure that I take care of myself. And so that's like a kind of daily, and then weekly, I do my Pilates. And that for me is just so important because I love my Pilates studio. It's filled with such high vibrational people. We're actually collaborating with them, like my business, which is so exciting. But also, I just think it's so important to get out of the house. It's important to just move your body in any way possible. Like that really, really tremendously helps me so much, really. And also, what I do like each week is like I just like get something for myself. It's like a treat because, I'm signaling to myself that I'm treating myself, I'm, loving myself. And it's so important to just make your weekly, daily routine feel so romantic and beautiful. Like, I really, really do that. And I also get like fresh flowers each week because I just love having flowers in my house. It just feels so lovely just to see them there. Like they brighten up my room, and I just feel so, because my parents are not really flower people, but I love flowers. So yeah, so for me, that's what I do. The dailies is just a lot of regulation. It's a lot of like, movement, a lot of herbal teas. Chamomile is so good. Rose hip tea is good as well. Really calming, like really, really calming. And then on my weekly Pilates, it's flowers, and it's also just treating myself to something small. It doesn't have to be something huge, but just treating myself to something small, which makes me feel like just happy. I'm enjoying life. And bubble baths are so important because actually they're very meditative. I find they're very regulating when you're having a bath or just any body of water, even a shower. I really, really find it so calming. Like water has this kind of property, but honestly, bubble baths and again daily, this is more for like keeping myself uh sharpened in on my focus of my future. So I'm sharpening my focus on my future and I'm not getting distracted because it's easy when you're living in an environment with people that are just not thinking the same way as you to get distracted. So I go on Pinterest because I have my feed, I have my board, and I literally just go through, even if it's 5 minutes of, future me pins and boards, because it just really grounds me with this kind of passion for the life that I know that I am going to step into. And it makes me appreciate the current stage of my life where I'm like, okay, I'm being prepared for this, but at the same time, it puts me in so much focus that I don't think about anything else. Because I have had it situations where I have people, friends, and even certain individuals, their behavior has not always been like desirable. And sometimes it's easy for me to get distracted and think about this. But then I'm like, no, these people are not a part of my future. They're not good for my nervous system. But how do I bring myself back to this? It's also by literally Pinterest and then meditating and visualizing my future self. Meditation as well, I forgot, is a weekly thing. I do it 2 times a week, uh, and it's amazing. So yeah, like Pinterest as well is so key for getting me inspired, but also just reminding me that it doesn't matter what has happened with people or what anyone else is doing. I'm just so locked in to my vision and making it happen, and like manifesting it.
I love that so much. I am definitely a Pinterest girly. I joke all the time that I could like sell my Pinterest boards. They're so good.
I
They're
know,
so
I
good.
know.
But your treats. So your treats, what was last week's little treat or what was this week's little treat?
And this week's little treat, actually, because I'm really big on self-care. I got like the Chanel hand cream because I ran out. So I bought like a little Chanel hand cream, like the oval one,
Hmm.
because I was like, I also need a good hand cream that I can take with me in my bag because currently my body lotion is like a huge, huge like I don't even know how you say it, but it's huge. It's like this big and it's such a beautiful, it's from Universal Boulie, it's a French brand, but it's so big I can't take it with me. So I was like, I'm going to treat myself and I'm going to get the little Chanel hand cream so then I can just keep using it on my hands, and it's luxurious, it's beautiful, and it's just exactly like the future me as well, because when I'm doing this I'm saying to myself, this is the future version of me, this is how she would, this is her normal, this is how she would live her life. And then last week we had quite a bit we had quite a bit, but I was restocking on my perfume, and then I also got a nail oil as well, because for me, I just find it so beautiful to be able to do these things, to take care of myself, to you know just keep on top of it. I really feel that when my hair, my skin, my nails are done, I just feel like I just look so put together. It doesn't matter like what I wear. Like, even like I could wear like a sweater with pajama bottoms, but if I've got like my hair's all nice, my skin is all good, my nails are fresh, and like, my hands are moisturized, it doesn't matter. Like you still look good. So I put so much investment actually into self-care, these kind of things, to really, really like, well, people call it, I don't know, beauty maxing. This is a whole TikTok trend. I'm not really about TikTok trends,
Maxing.
but yeah, but I do think that with beauty maxing as well, or these things, it's so important just to take care of, your body, and especially like when you don't have to do it for anybody else, because then it's like true self-love, you know? So I'm like, yeah, I'm doing my moisturizing. I wear perfume even when I go to sleep, because for me, it's like a signal of how much I respect myself that I'm doing these things. I'm not waiting for a certain, like, I don't know, occasion to like use an expensive hand cream or to use my perfume. I just do it because every day is like, you know what I mean? Like every day is special.
Hmm.
So that's
I
how I think.
love that, and I love the Chanel cream as well. I have this, I just used it. I pulled it out when I was at lunch and I used it, and it just felt, because firstly, I love the smell of it, but just using it,
So
you feel so good. Have you tried the Dior's cream?
no, but
They
that
have,
looks so
it's
lovely.
so nice. I actually need to restock on both of those. Thank you for reminding me. But I like this weekly treat thing. It's just because for me, it's something to look forward to. I think um, I have kind of done the same thing, but it's with solo dates because where I live here, I mean, I'm very, yes, I live in Florida, but I'm also very inland. So it takes, without traffic, maybe 45 minutes to get to the coast, to get to a downtown. So I am a bit
Yeah,
more secluded. So for me, having something to look forward to, mine is like solo dates. Like telling
yeah,
myself, okay, today on Mondays, you're going to go to the art museum. You're going to, just get out and do something, rather than doing your work in the house, go do your work at the library or at the local cafe or something. And that
exactly.
has
That is
been
so
fun.
important.
It's been so fun because you get to look forward to something instead of just the same routine. You kind of do that pattern interruption thing where you switch it up for on yourself, and that's where miracles happen. That's where you meet your next bestie, your next future client. Just getting out of the house more. So I love that. Maybe I don't know if it's a good idea, but maybe I'll try the treats thing. I may get carried
I
away.
think you should. And actually, yeah, speaking of the getting out of the house, I love watching ballet. So I went to watch a ballet yesterday and I went by myself because obviously, like, why not? And I've I watch ballet, like I watch maybe at least four, five, six ballet shows a year. I love it. Like it's honestly like
Mhm.
my thing. But yeah, like I just met so many amazing people yesterday. And it's just so nice to get out and just, do things. So I definitely agree with that. I love solo dates, to be
Yeah, and when you
honest.
go out alone, people are a lot more comfortable approaching you when you're alone. I think that's
That's
just the
true,
truth. Like
actually.
if you're with your friends, no one wants to impose on you. If you're with a guy, obviously he's like your bodyguard. Like no one's gonna
100%.
approach you. So I think getting out alone and being alone and just allowing yourself that space to connect with people is amazing. A couple of more questions, then we can
Of
wrap this one
course.
up. So if you could teach every human being one thing about their brain, what would it be? Like if you had a massive megaphone and you could just scream it for the entire planet to hear, what would you want to say?
Hmm. I think the most important thing that I would want to say, and it's not necessarily about the brain, but it's kind of like it is like how you think. But I think
Mhm.
I would want to say that like most of the time, unless you actively do something to somebody like intentionally, but most of the time, the way people react to you or the way people are with you is more a reflection of themselves rather than something that you did or something you said or like something like some way in which you are. Because this was the biggest lesson for me to learn. And, you know, for example, like if someone was to say something horrible to me or was to just not be nice to me and I did nothing to them, then I remember actually one time I was on Instagram and I just was posting a story, like a mirror selfie, and I was saying how great the class was because it was amazing. And then some random person just replied to my story going like, why do you need to even do that? Or like so, and I'm thinking I've never spoken to you before in my life. And like I was not even offended because I'm like, for you to actually like do that to someone. Like if you actually love yourself and you're confident, like I really believe that you don't spend so much time like focusing on what others are doing or like you're not bothered by what others are doing. So I was like I did not even get offended because I was like, well, that says more about you than me. Because, like I said, unless you actually do something to somebody for them to actually react to you, that's different. But if it's like, you haven't done anything and someone's acting like that with you, and I'm like, well, that's not anything to do with me. Like it's a reflection of them and their insecurities. And so I feel like a lot of people need to know this, because I think we can sometimes take it personally when someone acts in a specific way, especially with like dating and stuff. And I had this experience because actually I
We're
told you
gonna
about, no, so back to this, when I would sometimes take things personally, and even like a guy that I was talking to a year ago who's younger than me. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's being emotionally unavailable or he's being inconsistent. So, oh my God, like it's something to do with me. But then it wasn't anything to do with me, it was to do with him. Because also, when we stopped speaking, he literally stalked me for a year, him and his best friend. So I'm like, well, if it's me and it's why would you be doing that? So for me, I was like, actually, it's not me, it's him. He self-sabotaged. It was him. It's a reflection of him, his insecurities and his behavior. And it's got nothing to do with me, because I'm here living my life and you are watching my Instagram and you don't even have the guts to talk to me. So that says a lot more about you and how you were potentially scared and the way you were thinking than it does about my worth or my value. So that's a really important thing, especially when it comes to friendships and dating and stuff. So I was like, this happens a lot. Like when, people are acting in a certain way towards you. And especially me, I've experienced this a lot with dating and also friendships. But then I'm like, if it's really me, like, why do you come back? Why do you watch me? Why do you stalk me? Like, if I'm really the problem, because I'm not saying I haven't been the problem in certain situations. Of course I have. Like, I'm a human being.
Mhm.
But I'm like, if I'm really the problem, why are you doing this? Why is your friend still on my Instagram watching me like a year later? Like, none of you have like any business doing this, and yet here you are. So at the end of the day, that gives me more confidence in myself that it's not anything to do with me. It's how the individual themselves, their insecurities manifest in their behavior. So that has been so important for me in my emotional regulation in general.
For someone listening right now, they feel stuck in a pattern. Maybe they've tried to change for years, but they just can't stick to it. What would you want them to know as if they're feeling discouraged?
I mean, I feel like discouraged is just, I think it's more so a lack of connection with yourself, because I feel like even like when you strengthen the relationship with yourself, and at least when you know what it is that you want, like who you want to be, you have the vision, even if you're not there yet, like you still have the goal, you can work towards it. So I feel like if someone is discouraged or they don't really like, they feel like they're in a pattern that they can't break, it's like, okay, but like, do you know what you want? And if you get so clear on what it is that you want, then you will be passionate about it. And when you're passionate about it, then you will feel the motivation to break out of the cycle. But this is the thing. I also believe that it just comes in your own time. I don't think that you can force yourself, but I think that once you get really, really clear on what it is that you want and what it is that you don't want, I feel like then you just get like a passion that makes you focus in on your goals, and then you kind of start to build small actions and behaviors that bring you closer and closer. So in my opinion, I think it's important to really like know yourself, know what it is that you want. It doesn't matter what you want. It can be anything. But whatever it is that you want, I think it's so important to believe in that, to visualize it,
Mhm.
and to really feel passionate about it.
I love that so much. And all of your links and social medias will be linked down below. But where can we find you? Where are you most active?
Um, I would say I'm more active on Instagram and yeah, and LinkedIn as well. But Instagram, I'm always active on there. I'm always happy to answer questions and, talk to new clients and all of this stuff. So, yeah, I would say Instagram. Also my personal Instagram as well. Like I'm just so happy to connect with people. I love sharing content and inspiring people. So,
She's
you
good,
know, it
guys. She's good. Her content is so good. I love your content.
thank
It's the
you.
best. So that'll all be linked below. This was such a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much. And like I said, I'm gonna keep having you back because we have so much to talk about. You already
I
know.
know we have so much to talk.
Yeah. This was great. This was amazing. Thank you so much. And also, I am a client of hers, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
start the 4-week neural reset as well. And I actually am going to do week by week updates for you guys and letting you see exactly, what I'm feeling, my transformations, any breakthroughs that I have and successes with it. So you guys are going to get week by week updates on that. So I definitely want to carve out the right time to start so I can, dedicate myself to it and focus on that. But I am very excited to join the program and you guys definitely, the links will be in the description box. Connect with her. She is amazing. She's an amazing woman. And again, thank you so much.
Oh my God, thank you.